Entry Media Order, welcome to my review for Elysium. The new film's hit in the cinemas recently. I have my ticket to confirm it. There we go. Awesome stuff. What am I going to say about Elysium? Yeah, pretty awesome movie, really enjoyed it. I like the message in it. Kind of a modern day, well, sort of futuristic, modern day version of Robin Hood in a sense in terms of the storyline. Pretty decent acting, pretty decent visual effects, very good director. So let's talk about Elysium.
Why did you black out the sun?
So the storyline for Elysium is the idea of the poor stays poor and the rich stays rich. Elysium is basically a kind of the citadel in a sense from Mass Effect in space. It's where the rich stay rich and they have all, diseases for cures, they don't age, they have all the luxury stuff, they have like butler robots and stuff like that. And Earth is basically a dying planet from a kind of polluted kind of radiation, people in poverty, they're just making ends meet in a sense. And our main two characters, kind of a love interest in a sense. So our main character is Matt Damon, of course, plays Max. He's a kind of ex-con, he's a bit of a thief, he does GTA, he's doing arms deals, stuff like that, and he's trying to make ends meet in a sense. He's turned over a new leaf, he's working at a factory, he's trying to be a good person into society in a sense, to try and build his ticket to get to Elysium. And basically an incident happens, he gets radiated with a heavy dose of radiation from an accident in the factory, and he basically has 5 days to live, and during those 5 days he has to do a couple of missions, do a couple of assignments, get his exoskeleton suit to basically get to Elysium to try and save his own ass in a sense. And that's what the main kind of story is, and obviously there are people trying to stop him. You've got Jodie Foster's character, and you got the guy from, of course, District 9, I can't even pronounce his name, as the villain in this movie. And as an actual villain goes, he's pretty menacing, he's pretty badass, I have to admit, and he's very different from seeing him from going from District 9, playing a very kind of socially awkward kind of, office guy, then goes into kind of a hero type character, sort of in the District 9 movie. In this one, he's just a really kind of menacing presence, not a nice character you want to meet, and he's definitely very self-centered, very, angry and aggressive, and he definitely does get some good ass-kicking fight scenes in it for sure, which is pretty awesome. Nice to see him in this movie, doing what he does best. We've got Matt Damon in this movie, playing our main protagonist character, our hero character, in a sense. And I think Matt Damon's actually pretty cool in this movie. I think from the director's style, from knowing he's worked from District 9 and other movies, it's not a typical kind of action movie, it's not a typical sci-fi movie, it's a bit of everything in this sense, It's not like Matt Damon's doing all of the Bourne type stuff. He's it feels like he's a civilian character. It feels like he's an ordinary person that's got some sort of a fight skills in a sense, and some sort of a background in weapons and vehicles and stuff like that. And I think his character and his personality is very believable in the terms of he just wants to save his own ass in the sense. He just he fights to what degree he can do, and he does get stabbed, he does get hit, he does get punched, he does get knocked down so many times, and he does feel like a proper person. And that type of personality, type of person we can get on board with and we can believe and we can kind of root for in a sense. The movie's quite interesting in the terms of like how not everyone's a good guy, not everyone's a bad guy. Everyone is kind of out for themselves. Everyone's egotistical. Everyone's selfish. The main message of the actual movie is the idea of social health care and the idea of just the rich stay rich, the poor stay poor, and how they can have all this really fancy kind of equipment and can heal anything on the Elysium, but down on Earth, of course, we have to say with basic medical equipment to have a population, stuff like that. And it's a very simple message. It's a very simple, straightforward storyline. Anybody can get onto this movie very easily. It's not exactly complicated. I think the characters believable, nice, interesting. There is a couple of problems I have with the movie, and don't get me wrong, there is more good than there is bad. There's just one or two things that kind of like, after watching the movie at the cinema, I was talking with my friend about it, we kind of agreed upon some of the aspects of the idea of just a couple of, like, the love interest wasn't quite developed enough, I don't think. There clearly was there, the character Max and the girl from Predators, they obviously had a love interest kind of relationship, but it wasn't developed enough, there wasn't enough screen time. But for a 2-hour movie, you have to focus on so much within a movie, and obviously he wanted to focus on the idea of the message, the character, and the idea of Elysium, stuff like that. But I think there's more potential in some aspects. Maybe there'll be an extended version on Blu-ray, possibly. But don't get me wrong, it's still worth watching. It's definitely still over-worthy for the actual version on DVD and Blu-ray for sure. It's definitely something you go and watch with your friends, something you go watching with your family. It's pretty awesome. It's very entertaining. Get your money's worth for sure. I just feel like this could have been more in the movie, or some bit more could have been, you know, touched upon. I like the idea of the actual the health system, like the repairs, everything. I like to explore that a bit more. But in terms of what we got, it's actually a very entertaining movie. Good message, good characters, visual effects, fantastic. I love the robot designs. I love the visual look of it. The cinematography is really fantastic. Love some of the camera work I saw in the movie. Definitely a very similar style to kind of District 9, and you can definitely tell it's his movie because it's like a signature stamp right on it. The director did a very good job. He definitely knew what he wanted to tell with the story, and I think he did a very good job. Matt Damon is very good. The villain character is very good. Jodie Foster was also in this movie, and I agree with what other reviewers and other critics say. I think anybody could play the character, in all fairness. I think Jodie Foster was okay, very easily forgettable, not exactly an impressive villain or baddie or whatever you want to call it. I think anybody could have played her character very easily. Nice to see her in a movie though. She was just there in a sense. Definitely not kind of mind-blowing performance. The action's very satisfying. It's very kind of, you know, grounded, very flashed down with some kind of like, you know, some sparks of, you know, futuristic kind of sci-fi. You know, I love the actual the shield in a sense, you know, the guns going off. I love some of the kind of sci-fi technology and some of the weaponry and stuff like that. But most of it's very grounded, you know, in terms of like, you know, the swords and the guns, and you know, some of it's a bit out there with the robots and designs. But you know, very believable, very kind of you know, urban, very slum kind of environments. We have a South Africa environment yet again. Love the locations, very well done. So that's been my review for Elysium. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. What did you think of the movie? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? Love to do pins, comment down below. Definitely worth going to the cinemas for sure. Go and check it out, go and have a blast. It's definitely worth your price tag for sure. Don't go buy it on Blu-ray and DVD. Hope it brings an extended version. I feel there's a little bit more that can be explored maybe, but definitely worth what we got. And of course, I'll see Matt Damon back in the big screen again, playing another kind of action hero. Awesome stuff. So in the meantime, this is Andrew from Really Welcome Going TV. Signing out.